super fit soldier, resuscitated from the past.
The movie was over the top. Big guys, big guns, big trucks, fantastic stuff.
They called it a mini Terminator.
Muscle, action, explosion. People like to see that.
In those days, it was kind of the Wild West. You could get away with almost anything.
I'm alive.
It was 1991, actually, and I think I just got the script. It was called Crystal Knights, the first version. It wasn't that great, but, you know, my agent and my lawyer, they said, oh, you know, there's this other actor, Jean-Claude Van Damme, who I'd kind of heard of. You know, he was like a kind of a younger action guy at the time.
Mario Kassar sent me that script, and then Emmerich came from Germany.
Roland came on board. Dean was the writing partner of Roland, and he had a different take. They rewrote the script, and now the script became better now.
It was a Karolko days. Mario Kassar wanted us to do Universal Soldier.
Mario Kassar, well, you know, he was the king, you know. I mean, he had all the stars, all the big directors.
Well, Karolko at the time had been making one hit right after another. And it had become this place that filmmakers really liked to work because not only did you get paid more, but you had a lot more creative freedom. And they had a series of successful films. I mean, they had probably the best run of hits of independent movie companies ever.
From Angel Heart to Basic Instinct to Total Recall, Terminator, Rambo.
He liked the big, spectacular Hollywood epics, really. That was his style. And it worked for our movie, because that's what we were.
Do you want to play catch?
Came just from Germany. You know, it was like kind of 9 months in the country. Now, I had like some inkling about what it is. I roughly also knew the concept, but I had to really ask, you know, who are the actors in it? And he said to me, like, kind of, oh, it's with Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I said, I know Dolph Lundgren, but who is Jean-Claude Van Damme? You know, it's how naive I was, you know? And he was like totally against it. He said like, you cannot do this movie. And then I said like, you know what? It's a chance to do a movie. You know, we have like a $20 million. So let's do a movie, you know, let's be adult about these things. And then we had like really fun, right? Making this movie.
It's another, you know, Hollywood story. You have these two guys, you know, one guy from Germany made a small movie, Moon 44, and Dean, who's a young writer, come to Hollywood, and they end up directing me, Jean-Claude, in their first picture.
Well, what happened is I went out and I rented all of Jean-Claude's movies and Dolph's movies, and we did like a little movie marathon. And we started to get a little stumped creatively, and I said to Roland, so how do we open a movie with these two guys? And Roland said as a joke, well, we kill them. But then that actually sparked a really cool idea, and then we started thinking about it and thought, hey, well, actually, it'd be interesting to kill your two leads in the first scene. And then that really started the whole idea of them being zombies, and it grew from that.
I think the whole Vietnam thing came with Roland, the whole background, which I really liked. And the fact that they'd both been fighting for their country and, you know, they both were killed in action.
The Vietnam scene was more like a convenient way to kill two people.
It was really to show that there had been this animosity between them in their lives, and that when they start to wake up from their kind of semi-zombie state, that antagonism returned.
Roland Emmerich, he was a very cool guy, I remember. He listens a lot. He gave the actors a lot of freedom. We had a real vision of the visuals of the picture. All the production design, the costumes.
Nice outfit.
The lighting, the atmosphere, the rain, the wind machines, the look of the picture. He really knew what kind of look he was after.
Oh, he's a very, very serious, good director. He's a very imaginative director. He's got his own vision, and he like those sci-fi pieces.
The positions is perfect, you know. The whole thing has to go fast.
And also I thought he was quite impressive in the way he conducted himself on the set, because he's very low-key and he's very, very pleasant, you know, very non-threatening. You never felt like, you know, you were afraid of them because they were your bosses or anything. You felt like you could talk to them, and they were very down-to-earth, open to new ideas.
The type of guy, you take a movie in his hand, you can relax. And that's good for an actor, because then you can concentrate on your character.
Give me your best shot.
It was great. I was there, and I was no rehearsal. I was into the loop. Acting was cool. I was like this. You asked me to do so. If you ask me to, you like me, I like you. Cut. Move on. neutral. You know, I was really cool. In Vietnam, I was a man who was sent to fight for something. We came back alive for a program, and suddenly that guy flashback what he was in the past. It's not really much to talk about a character, you know, just a guy who was just a mummy to kill.
He physically had done some amazing things, so we knew that we could put him in any kind of physical situation and be fine. The question is, we didn't really know what the acting chops were. And I gotta tell you, that it was, I think, the biggest surprise during the shoot, is that emotionally as an actor, he was very available.
So many things are missing.
First time I met Jean-Claude, I think up at Coralco, I liked him, nice guy, martial artist, very youthful, very spontaneous.
Can somebody show me how to swim?
Lots of energy, lots of ideas about his career, a very smart guy with himself and his career.
At that time, he was like really the new guy on the block. The biggest guy was still Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. I have to give it to him. He has a certain quality, you know. There's like some innocence about him.
What the hell did they do to you?
I don't know.
It was like very good for the part because we needed somebody who, in a way, is reborn and in a way has to learn everything again. I think Jean-Claude has a much more feeling who he is and doesn't take himself too serious.
What'd I say, jump? You say how high?
I played Sergeant Scott, who was a Vietnam veteran, you know, good soldier, but he'd gone psycho. He'd been out there in the jungle too long.
They wouldn't listen.
He was very professional and approached this in a very serious way, considering it was an action karate movie.
Traitor.
And in fact, he even had his acting coach on the set working with him. He desperately wanted to be good in this film.
Oh yeah, I went into all of that, the psyche, the backstory, what had happened to him, the 50 questions, all this stuff. Then, of course, when you get a little older, you realize, you don't really need a lot. I guess I was a victim of the over preparation at the time. But I mean, I think the result was pretty good at times.
I kick ass who kiss ass, and I'm busting heads.
I wanted to give him kind of a sick sense of humor.
Sergeant Scott, could I have a word with you?
I'm all ears.
He's emotional, but he's kind of having fun doing this stuff instead of being just evil. Because then there would just be one note. It wouldn't be so much fun to play, and it wouldn't be so much fun for the audience. Images of, for instance, Jack Palance and Shane, you know, when he's like taking his gloves off, speaking to Shane, you know, so like that kind of thing where you take your time, because if you're doing something evil, then people are watching you, and you can really suck them in that way.
Any questions?
Well, at that point, people remembered him most from the Rocky movie. He had a very different background than Jean-Claude. I mean, he had actually been a world-class fighter. I mean, he was thought to be the next world champion. But he also had this incongruity in that he was quite brilliant. He was from MIT. He was really intelligent.
To me, it was a pleasure to work with Dolph, because they told me you're gonna work with Dolph, it's gonna be the boom, 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 boom. You know, him and Rocky and Stallone. When I saw Dolph, I didn't have any problem, because he was my friend. We helped each other. He's a cool guy, and everybody was cool on the set.
It was day one of the shoot, the first scene in the movie, and that was the first scene we shot. And I haven't really gotten to know Jean-Claude that well. And, you know, we have this confrontation, and of course, you know, we haven't rehearsed this either. I've rehearsed it with other actors. And then we had this little mini fight, and that's when, you know, we got a little tense there. You could tell everybody's watching, like, oh, what the hell's gonna happen now? It kind of broke the ice between us. Of course, we do make contact in that fight. And everything worked out fine. So after that, everybody was kind of relaxed.
You're a traitor too, aren't you? Arm boy. Prove it.
Dolph is a big guy, and I'm also a big guy, you know? So when a big guy touch a big guy and the other big guy get nervous, the big guy hands go crazy. But I mean, it was good kick. I want Dolph to hit me good. I asked him. So all this we choreograph, we talk together, and when we start to touch each other, we start to feel each other, it's like everything go fluid. 13. What I like about this movie, it was like a competition in a sense. When you see all those strong guys in the film, they all go to the gym. So we want to keep in shape.
They were like kind of so busy, like kind of like Dolph and him, you know, like kind of checking each other out.
Hey, Dolph, look at there. He's always late. Always come late on the set. You know, I mean, this is not good.
Really?
He has to learn.
Who's this?
It was a little bit like this. Sometimes when we like kind of shot, it was like who pumps up first. I was not aware of that when you like a bodybuilder or whatever, that you have to pump yourself up. It's like kind of like some air pump, you know?
There was a big gym in a trailer, 2 trailers of gym equipment that we kind of worked out with.
And when you didn't time to dry it, you could not shoot because then the other guy had to pump up. It was like very complicated.
Yeah, there was a little competition going on there, who could bench the most.
It's kid stuff. We're gonna try to go, and because we have to look good, but I was in that mood because I didn't know acting, so I was in that physical mood of showing the best I can to the audience.
Where are your clothes?
What's nudity? I mean, like, to show your butt? Yeah, I'm sure I show my butt all over the place. I mean, in movies.
It was like really one of his trademarks. We really wanted to please his audience. We studied his movies very carefully, and we realized there's certain things in every movie. In every movie, he drops his clothes.
Oh, come on, man, not this again, huh?
So we like kind of did this, some say like very homoerotic shot behind, craning up his butt.
The funny thing was that day, even though he had always done these kind of shots in other movies, he gets nervous when he has to shoot it. As we went to set up that shot, he looks over his shoulder and he says to Walter, our cameraman, he says, "Is my butt in focus?"
I said, Jean-Claude, we're professionals. We know what we're doing. We get your butt in focus.
They say I can put a walnut, and I can crack a walnut with my butt by squeezing my cheeks.
Where are you from, anyway? Are you from France or Canada, or... I mean, I figured you gotta be French or something because of your accent.
What accent?
When we were originally conceiving the character, the idea was that they were kind of reborn as these reanimated soldiers. On one of the first scenes, the accent was a real problem because it sounded more like, "You have to stop 50 feet behind the line of the limit." And then suddenly Roland came over and said, "Dean, you have to make this shorter." So I shortened it down and said, "Well, you have to stop at every stop sign. You have to stop at every... shorter." So in the movie, it's, "I have to stop." And that became kind of an ongoing theme where we started taking more and more of that kind of verbose dialogue and making it shorter and shorter. And it actually got much funnier that way, especially during the fight scene. He just wants to be left alone. He just wants to eat his lunch, and these guys are bothering him. And he just turns and goes,
I just want to eat.
and that was probably one of the funniest lines of the movie.
Well, we hired a really good stunt coordinator, Vic Armstrong. I mean, he's like kind of famous in that business. He pretty much took care of it. I always like kind of told him what I wanted roughly, and then he worked it out with these guys.
Roland was very good. He'd let Vic do a lot of his stuff himself. He wouldn't interfere too much, which was great, because Vic really knows how to make those things good.
We had very limited budget. So what we did a lot of like stunts which are not very expensive but very spectacular. The first one was when they rappelled down the Hoover Dam. Everybody always said like it's impossible to shoot there, and somewhat like we made it happen.
The Hoover Dam sequence was a great sequence. I mean, even by today's standards, it's very good, because you actually have real people moving down the dam. It's not CGI. Like, these are real guys.
Going down forward, it's special techniques, and then the stunt cut there. On the arrival, the actors took place, and we crack heads and kick butt.
The big bus chase, that took a couple of weeks, I think.
Jesus Christ, he's coming right for us.
I know we discussed forever the chase sequence with the Unisol truck, you know, like chasing the bus. That was like kind of a big deal for us at that time.
There was a lot of second unit stuff. Some things were on stage in LA. Some things were in in Nevada and on the dry riverbed.
Are we having fun yet?
It's very tedious, and you're hanging there doing it, a million times, throwing grenades, firing the gun. Of course, you get a good tan because it's, the middle of the desert. Yeah, it is the Grand Canyon. It's pretty deep, Yeah, we're right on the edge. The gas station, yeah, it disintegrated. I mean, it was a real gas station 1 second, and next it's just a hole. That was huge. That was a good explosion by any means.
I felt heat, it's far away, but you feel like a wave of heat.
I'm gonna bust your head, punk.
I don't want to hurt you.
That fight scene when I eat the popcorn and the way I fight, because I've got great flexibility, so I can stay like this and kick a guy and, you know, it look abnormal. When you kick and you make an effort, you make like, it's look like a human doing it, like, When you go kick, you go, baff, and you stay like that. And then your popcorn, you look like, you know, like a toy.
You're dead, soldier.
No, I'm alive.
The final climax of the picture was partially rehearsed and partially was just come up with by me and Jean-Claude on the spot. Some of the moves didn't work because of the rain and because of location. Also, we wanted to add some special stuff. We actually went back for 2 weeks and reshot stuff and added moves to the fight because it was a little too short, people felt, you know, in the first version. Yeah, Jean-Claude had his, you know, signature spin kicks and jump kicks. I kind of felt that. I wanted to show some brute strength, you know, kind of throwing him through walls and things of this nature. It's a nice balance of styles there, I think.
You're discharged, Sarge.
Universal Soldier, well, it defines an era. It's when I met my wife. It's when I got into my own a little bit as an actor because I was challenged with a role where I was trying to do something with it beyond the obvious. It's a good memory of working with Jean-Claude and Roland Emmerich and of the good old 90s.
We had a great time making it. I think we got an enormous amount on the screen for very little money. And I think the film holds up pretty well. I mean, I'm always surprised that the jokes still work, that the essential structure of it still works. And I definitely think it's Jean-Claude's best film.
That movie did have a big impact on my career, on everything. It felt good because my lawyer told me at the time, and he said, you'll see, if a guy like you can go into a studio picture, look like, DP-wise, lighting-wise, special effect, truck, Grand Canyon, USA look, you will be a movie star. So I did my best, you know, I play what I was asking to play, and after that, I took off to big numbers.
The movie was really successful. And then naturally they kind of threw all kinds of other projects at us, and we decided to do our own movie, which we had written already and was called Stargate. And we all of a sudden had like a sleeper hit, you know, and everybody said, oh, now you can do this, now you can do that. And we like kind of said, no, we like doing now our next script. And everybody was rolling their eyes, you know, and that was Independence Day.
When you look at the lighting of that film, the freshness of the concept, the clothing, that special truck, it's one of my best movies. Entertaining, it's Van Damme in his young age, having fun, and with all those guys, it's a great film.